Do I smell a law stream? Cold dust. What's going on? Cold dust. Nikki, what's going on? Nikki freaking P. And what's going on, everybody? For those of you who are here, I know this is kind of like last minute. I didn't plan this stream out well. I was actually I was doing something earlier this morning, and I got up and I was like, you know what? The kids are still asleep. They don't get up till about 7:30, so I can, just sneak in a quick stream. Mm, I'm just typing BS. How are you doing? I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. I'm just trying to recover from the post Christmas holiday stuff. It was it was a great holiday. It's a great Christmas. I think the kids loved it. Hey, good morning, Anna and Anna. And I'm actually just kind of reevaluating just when I'm going to go for the new year, because now it's that time of year where you kind of look back at the past year and kind of see how things happened, and that's kind of what I'm doing now, a little earlier. I'm not going to wait to New Year, but I definitely want to see just what I could improve on for next year, and just personally, just what's happened in the past year. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to do my end of the year video, because it's going to be like my first compilation video. But 2020 was a big year for everybody, and I think it was just so life changing in so many different ways that I'm not sure if the tragedy of the pandemic has brought us as Americans closer together, um, or torn us farther apart. Ah, yeah, yeah, Joey. I heard about Bull. I woke up this morning and I went on Discord, and so for those of you who don't know, there's a show called The Non-Sex Show, and Bullinator was a producer on that show. And Bullinator, he wasn't really a fan of mine. Actually, to be honest with you, I've actually never really had a direct issue with Bullinator, to be honest with you. Um, Bullinator, you know, this is one of those things where when you go back and you try to figure out, for those of you who don't know, Bullinator passed away. He's one of the people in our community. We have a philosophical community here online. It has atheists, it has Christians, it has Muslims. And, we debate the God question, and we try to do critical thinking. We talk about all types of varying stuff. And there's really two factions out there now. It's like a blood feud between us. It's like three or four. So Bullinator, he was on our side at one time, he was on the other side, and it's wild because and unfortunately he passed away recently. Supposedly, I think last night he passed away. Um, and the one thing, it lets you know that these petty little online beefs that we have is really, really like it's not worth anything, right? It's like beefing with this guy and beefing with that person, and you wake up one morning and the guy's dead, and you're like, damn, all that time you argue with someone, and you forget how frail life is. In the snap of a finger, you're gone. And I really, it's weird because I really don't have anything negative to say about Bullinator, right? I just don't. He may have said some negative things about me, but I didn't really know the guy. But I will say this: Bullinator taught me how to use OBS. For those of you who know who this guy is, he taught me how to use OBS. And this was, because we have this love-hate relationship in our group where you're friends with some people, then they become hated enemies, and they become friends again. It's just, it's life, unfortunately. But I was doing another show with a couple of friends of mine, and I was producing the show. And Bullinator was a producer for the Non-Sex Show at the time. And this guy took the time and took maybe about 2 hours to show me how to use OBS, how to get the right look, how to get the right feel, some of the tricks they did, how to send it out in 1080p. I'm talking about yeah, for about 2 3 hours. I remember he used to produce for the Geek Room, and it was good. It shows you that even though you may have difference with somebody, everybody has some value to it. I remember when he even had his first like eviction thing. I remember giving to that. But it's um it's sad. It's sad. You know, I feel for his family and for those of who loved him and who cared for him. You know, he will be missed, and it's just these stupid little internet beefs. They don't mean anything in the long run. So, uh, to bull. Mm. But yeah, you know, if they do like fundraiser or something for them, I'll give to that because it's somebody saying bad things to you online. It's not enough to not be a human being to the person. The person, to feel for the person's family. That's it's we have to put things in perspective here. So you know God, I hope that I hope the best for his family, and I hope them all the best. It's a sad situation. Oh, so that's bull. Mm. So what has everybody else been doing? How's everybody's Christmas been out there? I don't know. Mine has been it's been interesting. I've been doing traveling, doing this, doing that. I'm afraid I might have gotten COVID. I don't know. It's been all crazy. I want to ask people: are they going to take the vaccine? Because my wife, she's a healthcare worker, so she's going to be taking the vaccine pretty soon, and she was all scared. But I don't know. I'm not thinking I'm going to jump on the vaccine as soon as it becomes available. Mm. Hey, happy holidays, RMP Games. Yeah, I'm definitely going to take the vaccine. I'm hazing out of a food coma for 3 days. Ah, that's good food. Then that's good food. You know, I'm. It's interesting in our little like legal community online. We're starting to have, I think, political beefs, and it's so weird because I'm in. I feel like I'm on. All right, let me just speak because I'm trying to speak and be careful about what I say. But I think it's just good to just be honest and just give a flow of thoughts. So I'm not censoring myself. But in our little legal community, I find myself on the right side of the legal community in terms of, let's say the more conservative side. And then there's like a liberal side of the legal community, of our online legal community. So, for instance, Legal Eagle would be considered the left side or the liberal side of our legal community. And it's like a judge who does it too. And on the right side, Viva, Barnes, Uncivil Law is pretty much he's center right. Nick Riccietta, he's right leaning. And it's interesting that the interesting part about this group is that now it's starting to become politically fractured, and you can start seeing it happen where some people unfortunately are starting to let their political biases take over their legal analysis. And it happens to me too, right? It happens to me, it happens to everybody. But it's getting to the point now where, you know, like I feel sometimes people are starting to put misinformation out there. And I don't think they're putting out misinformation to be, how do I say this without being mean? I don't think they're putting out misinformation to mislead people. I think they're putting out misinformation because they're sloppy in the way they're going about divulging the information. Because the law is not something that you can just pick up, like, okay, I know the law now, right? It's something that that has to be studied. You have to kind of understand the inner workings of the thing. It's like, I can drive a car, but that doesn't mean I know how to build a car, that type of thing. And I think most people who operate in society know how to drive. If law is like a car, most people know how to drive the car. But as an attorney, we have to know how to build the car, how to fix the engine, how to get into those details. And that is kind of where I kind of hold my brethren out here who are legal professionals to kind of a higher standard of understanding this information. And sometimes, and getting something wrong is not an issue, but getting something wrong and then doubling down on it, that's kind of my issue. And certain things that are fundamental, like when we talk about standing, for instance, legal standing. Legal standing is just three things: injury, caused by the defendant, and that the court can do something about, right? Fundamental to any case in law, right? Matter of fact, standing is so fundamental that if you bring a case to a court and you don't have standing, you could be sanctioned by rules of professional conduct. The court can say, you haven't brought a legitimate case in front of us, and you could be sanctioned by the court for bringing a frivolous action by standing. So to hear other professionals say, no serious lawyers taking standing seriously, it's like, but if you don't, then you're violating the ethical rules. You have to take it seriously. No, it's actually the opposite. No serious lawyer would not take it seriously. And that's just one example. But they're starting to get, when you start looking at the law and how people are looking at it without the political bias, it's hard to say that these people are being fair in their analysis of the law. Uncivil law just had this huge fight with with Barnes, because I think he thought Barnes was being misleading. He thought Barnes was harming legal education here online by saying the things that he was saying that just happened not to be true. And and for whatever reason, Barnes gets things wrong, but I don't think saying someone gets something wrong is like saying someone is breathing. Right? We all get that wrong. It's not about being perfect. It's about striving for perfection. And that's kind of the way I see my process here online to educate you guys. When I do my police breakdown videos, I try so hard to just say, here's the facts. And that's my next video is coming out, is the shooting of Andre Hill. It's the guy, the unarmed black man who was shot in his garage by police. They have body cam footage. So I've broken that down. I got it in the can right now. So it's going to be coming out later today. Well, so when doing those videos, you start seeing how no matter what facts you put up, what the facts are, what the law is, people are just going to say, we don't believe you for whatever way, that we don't believe the facts, we don't believe the law, or they say that you're biased because you just presented it without giving an opinion. You don't know how many times my videos that I don't give an opinion on, people say it's an opinion. I'm like, well, there's no opinion there. Here it is. If you don't argue standing, you are being unethical? No. If you don't, just so Dan understands, if you go to a court and you have a client, a plaintiff, and you're their lawyer, and that plaintiff has not suffered an injury, and that means that injury is not caused by the defendant, and it's not based in fact or law, you have committed an ethical violation. Yes. By not bringing a case that is based in fact and law, you have no injury, no causation, no redress from that court, you have brought a frivolous lawsuit and you have violated ethical rules. Yes. So it's not about arguing standing. It's about evaluating standing before you get to the court. If I bring a case where my client has no injury, the defendant he's suing that person has not caused an injury because the person doesn't have an injury and the court can't redress it, yes, I brought a frivolous lawsuit and I can be sanctioned. Just so we're clear. That would violate the ethical code. Police breakdown videos are amazing. No bias, facts. Yeah, and you don't know how much flack I get for the police-based videos. But the next one is going to be, it's interesting because you really get to see the process of breaking it down. So it's about the recent shoot, and I have two on the police raids that I got to bring up too. So, but we'll see. The police ones hopefully will be good. I enjoy focusing on the facts and laws as they are written, previously interpreted. Well, me too. I am more of someone who looks at the law as written and say, this is the law as written, and we should follow it this way. But interpretations are going to pop in there. So there's a famous case out of New York, matter of fact, where there was a well, let me set it up. So there's a doctrine in law called mistake in law, which is fascinating. So there was a federal corrections officer in the state of New York, and he went to a gun store to get a firearm. And generally, if you get a firearm here in the state of New York, you got to be licensed. So this federal corrections officer went to the gun store and says, "Hey, I want to buy a gun." So they go to the gun store and they pull out the law, right? Like, well, hold on, we got to. And the law says these are people who can buy a firearm, and on it said, police officers and corrections officers. So the guy said, "Hey, I'm a federal corrections officer. It says corrections officer in the law, so sell me the gun." He looked. The owner of the gun shop looked, and they said, "Hey, this is it says corrections officer. You're right. Let me sell you the gun." So they sold him the gun, and this corrections officer was arrested. Right? He was arrested. He was arrested for possessing a gun. This corrections officer. So they went to court, and he's like, "Hey, look, any reasonable person reading it says corrections officer. I'm a correctional officer. You know." The court said, "Well, listen, that has been interpreted by the state Supreme Court, by the state actually Court of Appeals, to only mean state correctional officers. So federal correctional officers are not within this law. It's only state correctional officers." And this guy was convicted for that crime of owning a gun because he wasn't a state correction, even though it didn't say that in the law. So that's the problem with mistaken law, is that there are only certain people who are authorized to be able to interpret law, judges, for instance, and law enforcement officials. So if you're wrong with your interpretation of the law, you can be held criminally liable, as this guy was. And there was no way that you can say a fair reading of that statute didn't mean corrections officer, but it was. Sorry, I'm getting through the chat, guys. Barnes killed me on the Marbury. I think that if you read the citizen's arrest law wrong, then I think that yes. Barnes is reading the citizen's arrest law wrong in the Marbury case. And I'm just going to say it. He doesn't know. Barnes talks as an authoritarian sometimes, and he doesn't understand what he's talking about. For instance, I've been in law enforcement for almost 15 years. There's no time. Like, Barnes's argument is that you can make an arrest on reasonable suspicion. That's wrong. Any law enforcement officer, any prosecutor, anybody who's in law enforcement will tell you you cannot arrest anybody on on reasonable suspicion. That's a standard. You cannot arrest. If you do, you are violating that person's constitutional rights. It is not impossible. It is a violation of the Fourth Amendment. You have to arrest people based on probable cause, no matter what the Georgia law says, right? That's your constitutional right. If somebody's arresting you under color of state authority, they have to do so on probable cause. No exceptions, right? That is literally there. It says it there. You're seizing, that's a seizure. You're seizing somebody. It has to be on probable cause. Barnes in the Ahmaud Arbery case says, no, the law allows you to do it on reasonable suspicion. He is wrong. And I don't want to say he doesn't know what he's talking about, but he doesn't know what he's talking about. So I haven't, when he says something like that, You know what I do? I just say, well, so what, right? So what? So what? He's wrong, right? I think that's part of the whole. You have to kind of do your own research, but yeah, for the Ahmaud Arbery case, he doesn't understand it. He doesn't understand it from my perspective. And I think Barnes is famous, and he goes out there and he says things that people are going to say, well, hey, he's a famous lawyer. Everything he says is correct. But no, Barnes is fundamentally wrong. You don't have to ask me. Call the prosecutor's office. Call a police station. Ask me, hey, can anybody make an arrest without probable cause? They're going to tell you, no, that's ridiculous. Whoever's telling you that is wrong anywhere in the country. So, and this is not a knock against Barnes. It's just that he's factually wrong. And I've told him he's factually wrong. I've showed him, like, here's the Constitution. This is what it says. You have to do it based on probable cause. It's a fundamental right in the United States. So if he wants to go out there and continue to say that, even after I've told him he's wrong, there's nothing I can do about that except tell you, the people who are watching the show, why he's wrong. And the Fourth Amendment shows he's wrong. It's not me. It's the Fourth Amendment that proves Bond wrong. So you don't believe me. And remember, that's one thing I always tell people, don't believe me. Go read it for yourself. I'll tell you what I think it is, but go read it. Go read the Fourth Amendment. See what it says. It says probable cause. It says it right there. You want to see somebody, if you're going to search, must be done on probable cause. Barnes is wrong. Here we go. Next one. It's an ethical violation to reverse when a client has standing and lawyers cannot take the case. No, I don't have to take your case if you have standing. If you have standing to sue, I don't have to take your case. It happens all the time, right? I've turned out in many cases that the person clearly has standing because it's a risk assessment also too. Like, for instance, if I'm taking a case on contingency, for instance, and there's no money in the case, you can have standing to sue, but I can't make any money on contingency, so I'm not going to take your case. So no, it's not an ethical violation. The ethical violation is me bringing a case which I know, my client hasn't been injured by this defendant. That's wrong. You can't do that. I can't. If, for instance, this is Allegiant News. Let's say I bring a client that's suing you for defamation, right? That's wrong, right? There's no basis for that lawsuit, right? I can't just do that. If I do that, I'm violating the ethical code, right? Because I'm bringing a lawsuit that has no basis in fact or law. There's no facts that I can point to that you've defamed my client, right? So that's the reason why. That's the reason why it's unethical. Good morning. I know this is a little ranty. I'm sorry. I'm going through it. I know that these are like long-winded. I'm putting it high. Super secret squirrel. Yes. I'm going through all the messages. I know this is kind of the best video. I have liked your videos. The breakdowns, Tennessee v. Gardner. Oh yeah. That's coming today. The one coming tonight is going to be another breakdown of Tennessee v. Gardner. It's interesting. When I started doing the police breakdowns, I noticed that no one else breaks it down. No one else understands that. This is something I'm giving out one of my secrets now. But every police, if you look at any police department's use of force criteria, these are the two cases that each one of them uses to determine if officers use force reasonably or not. And I'm surprised no one else talks about them when they break stuff down. It's fascinating how there's like this little hole in the law and legal education where people don't understand the law behind police use of force and how the Constitution and the Supreme Court has developed these tests that you can judge all police use of force. That's the only two cases you really need. I can use those two cases and you give me any police action and I can tell you if it's constitutional or not and whether the officers be charged just by applying the foundations of those two cases. It's a fascinating piece of how the law is just, how I think legal education hasn't caught up with what happens in the real world. This is why I would never live in New York. Hey, oh, thanks, Simon. Simos, what's going on? Joey D. Nate D. Do you think a senator will join a member of Congress? Yes. I think Trump has such a hold over the Republicans. I think it's going to happen. But it's just, it goes back to a vote of the full House and the full Senate. They go vote on it. What do you think? Do you think the House is going to vote against Biden? Because they need both the House and the Senate to agree to the objection. So they go vote, and you just waste a little time. I think some time will be wasted, but yeah, it's going to be over. There's more Democrats in the House than Republicans, so I don't think. And I think there's even Republicans in the Senate who's not going to go for it. So if the if you want to save some political capital, think about this. If you want to save political capital going into a Biden administration, you won't object, right? You have the Senate hold off an objection. But if you don't really care about the political capital, then you make an objection and make a show out of it. I think because there's so many people who want Trump to win, I think you make a show, and then Biden gets in, and then you call it a day. So I was told law enforcement can't make legal determinations. Well, that's true and not true. When I was an officer, you have to make some legal determination. Did you commit an assault? Did you commit, right? And is there probable cause to arrest you? So that's a legal determination I have to make. And that's in the moment. And then I take it to the district attorney's office, and then they see if what if you've done really fits that, whether it fits the legal definition of an assault or something like that. So I have to have probable cause, but then the district attorney is the one that sees that they can prove it. So I do make legal determinations. Well, I do. We as law enforcement officers do make legal determinations, but it's at the level of probable cause. And then it's the district attorneys and the lawyers who go to the next level if they can prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. Facts without interpretation is meaningless. Interpretation without facts is empty. That's true. I say. Can I arrest myself? No, but good question. It is always wise to remember we cannot know everything. And to never act like we do. Yes. I just don't know. I don't know it all, and I'm glad I don't, because it's best to try to figure this stuff out together, right? Like a lot of these things, I've learned so much from just giving out the fact and just seeing different opinions on things. Like even for the Breonna Taylor case, I'm actually under the, I'm going to show my hand here. I'm under the warrant. I think was pretty light in getting probable cause, right? And it's funny when you read through the comments of the video, everybody thinks Nate thinks that there was enough of probable cause. I think the probable cause for the search warrant was light, right? I do. I think it was light. Did it reach the level of probable cause? I would say if it did, it really barely made it, right? It just was light. But I didn't come to that conclusion until after I started reading the comments and going through the process with everyone to say, okay, I have some internal biases of my own, being former law enforcement. Oh, it must be this way. You have to kind of think of it as a layman and say, is this real probable cause? Just because somebody got a package at somebody's house, does that mean that they're getting drugs? No, that doesn't mean that. There's a lot of things that don't really lead to people thinking you have drugs in your home. And I think the Breonna Taylor case is one of those borderline issues. And I think the nuance is what's missed online, because people want villains now. Either you're bad or you're good, but there's no nuance. It's possible both sides could be justified. And it's like the Kyle Rittenhouse case too. It's another one of those cases where both sides could be justified. There's no villain in this scenario, right? Everybody could be right in the way they're thinking about the situation. It's just that they can be seeing it from two different angles. Barnes versus Nate, an uncivil law cage match. No, I love Barnes. I love Barnes. I think, I honestly think, listen, I'm going to say this publicly. If Barnes is telling you something and I'm telling you something, I would even go with Barnes, right? Barnes is somebody who I would go to for legal advice. Barnes is, I've represented attorneys before. I would go to Barnes for legal advice. Barnes is smart. He's intelligent. He's probably one of the best lawyers in the country. But Barnes is no joke, right? I just think Barnes is one of those people, when he gets something wrong, instead of saying it's wrong, he tries to explain that he was really right. And that would be my only problem with Barnes. But Barnes is a phenomenal. I would never throw shade at Barnes and say he doesn't know he doesn't know the law. He's not an accomplished attorney. No, not nowhere near that. But I think he's wrong, and I think sometimes he speaks from an authoritarian position And when he does that, and he is wrong, he's confusing people, and that I think it doesn't help the conversation. I think it actually hurts it. We've never met in person who's 100%. I've never met the person who's 100% right all the time. That's true. Me neither. Me neither. Terry v. Ohio. Yes, you have to watch. Dan, you got to watch the video on police use of force. That's in there. Terry v. Ohio. Stop and frisk. Um, or look at the what's it, Elijah McClain case, because that's all about stop and frisk in Terry v. Ohio. So this one's not for me. This one's not for me. Tennessee v. Gardner and Terry v. Ohio, two cases. Donut operator has covered on his channel. He's not. Mhm. Yeah, yeah. But Tennessee. The one thing about Tennessee v. Gardner, though, I've been to different police academies to see like their presentations. Because I actually used to teach at the police academy. Well, not the NYPD police academy. Got to be very clear. My department had their own police academy. And we used to teach officers from different departments too. So I was teaching, different police departments. And Tennessee v. Gardner is one of the cases where no matter what academy you go to, they are teaching you that case. It's something that everybody starts off with, because I think people just like the shock and awe of that case. Terry v. Ohio, they teach it to you in the academy in your law class, because it's one of those things about, so you do learn about Terry v. Ohio, but Tennessee v. Gardner is one of those cases where they love to mention to you. Hey, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, Chris. Hey, I got a couple coming this afternoon, so be on the lookout. Thanks. A lawyer, though. Oh. Okay, yeah. But donut operator was a cop, so of course he's going to definitely you can break those down, because that's what they teach you. Nate the lawyer, could you at some point make a breakdown of the case of? Do me a favor, put this name in the comment section, and I'll look up the case. I'll definitely look it up. I'm doing the one tonight about Andre Hill. I think that's fascinating. So you'll see that about whether that cop. Right. Do you think that Calvin's house is guilty of homicide? No, absolutely not. Or do you believe it's self-defense? Well, watch my video on Kyle Rittenhouse, but straight up and down, it was self-defense. It's classic self-defense. But we'll see. But I think it's classic self-defense. I think Kyle Rittenhouse is. I think it's a self-defense case. I don't. To be honest with you, I'm not seeing. It's going to be hard to see them get a conviction, and I know there's been a whole bunch of attorneys who stole this kid's money and stuff like this, but it should be a great. It's just if I was on the jury, from what I have seen, the videos and what I've known, it's just, I'm saying self-defense. I would say it's self-defense. Yeah, I'm sorry, and I know people are going to be like, "Oh, nature, you're crazy." No, it's I just see self-defense all over the case. But there's his followers. Some sad news. Oh yeah, we spoke about that earlier. Yeah, we said condolences to his family. Yeah, Bullinator was tough. Yeah, that's sad. And hopefully they'll start a GoFundMe, and I'm definitely willing to donate to that. Because it's the internet beef. And again, it's just somebody saying bad things about you isn't that's so what. But I'm definitely gonna. I feel for his family. I'm definitely gonna give him some money. So, oh cool. How are you? Man, crazy stuff again. Cop killed an unarmed man. Oh yeah. No. That's coming later today. Be on the lookout. That case is going. I've already broken it down. It's got to put the finishing touches on the video. Yeah, we're gonna see. We're going through that. Government use drugs to control people. Look at Rick Ross. What do you think about eliminating qualified immunity? I don't know. I got to think about that a little bit more, because I think sometimes, in some cases, it's good, some cases it's bad. It really depends. Good morning, afternoon, Nate. What's up, my festive friends? We're all safe and well. Good. 100% agree. I don't know what you agree with, but I'm glad you do. Hope you had a good holiday. I did. And sir, did you see the latest breakdown of Think Like a Cop, aka Lucky Miracle, on the guy who was killed after the cop jumped in front of the slow-moving vehicle? No, but I will definitely check that out. So I've gotten through a lot of the comments. I got like another 15, 20 minutes here. But I wanted to go through the last couple of things I wanted to go through is that I'm trying to put out my end of the year video. And it's one of those things where you have so many people to just be thankful for. I I I kind of miss just um I don't know. I kind of miss just the old days of like, you know, going into a hangout, speaking to different people about weird topics, and um, it, it's it is it's fascinating. What's this? This is a 5G nut. Did you hear the Nashville suspect was a 5G nut? Possibly. No, no. I got to look that up. Um, I do want to say this before I get out of here and got to feed the kids, but there is a it's the most interesting thing about being here online and being here on YouTube and sharing a part of your life and my thinking about this is that I want to make it very clear. Facts do matter, right? They always have. And I do understand that there are some issues that are politically charged where people, want a particular result. And there are some issues that people, that are not. And I cannot tell you that I'm going to be, you know, we're all going to be lockstep in your political leanings or I'm going to be against your political leanings. I personally just like to look at the facts and be fair to both sides. It's some like now it's starting to make me laugh that there was one of my Trump supporting friends was saying about how Biden is such a huge liar. And I'm like, well, what do you think about Trump's lies? And they went right into justifying all of those lies. And when I started laughing, they said, well, why are you laughing at me? And I said, because you know you you want to see an outcome, but you don't see the fact that the same excuses you're using for one is the same excuses you can use for the other side. And I have to be true to myself, right? I cannot sit here and just be a sycophant for any side. Like with this election thing, when people say there's evidence, and I say where's the evidence, and there's no evidence ever to be shown, or the cases are being thrown out. It's it is what it is. So I'm going to make you mad. Sometimes I'm going to make you happy. But what I'm going to do, and I can only promise you going forward, is that I'm going to provide you evidence. I'm going to provide you facts. I'm going to provide you law. You deal with the outcome, but I'm going to give you my honest opinion about it. That's all I can do. And if you hate me for it, that's fine. If you love me for it, that's fine. But you will know exactly what I mean. And no bullshit, no spin, raw and uncut. That's the way I've always given it to you. That's the way you like it. And that's the way you're going to have it. Oof. Let's see what this says. Mark Garagos, a hardened liberal, is even suing California and city of LA. Doesn't care. He doesn't care about the politics. I don't care about the politics, but I just want to make sure people understand. That's my goal. My goal here isn't to tell you what you want to hear. It's to tell you the truth, and then we figure it out together. So let's see. Um, I got to look at this 5G nut now because now you guys got my interest all peaked about this 5G. I might agree with Nate's opinions, but he's at least going to give me the facts. Yeah, and that's all. That's all I can do. Like for instance, you don't know. Some of my there's 3 police videos that I got so much flack for from my community, from people who I know. Jacob Blake, Breonna Taylor, and it was another one that I had done where obviously bringing out the facts. The people people were like, oh, the police killed these people. Oh, Elijah McClain. So Elijah McClain, I had a fan of mine scream at me, right? Just literally scream at me. And I said, well, why are you so mad at me? They were like, oh, because the cops killed this person, or the cops did this, and you're making excuses for them. And I had to literally explain to these people that no, I'm not making any excuse for anybody. Here is the facts, right? This is what happened. This is what the law is. And this is when you put the law with those facts, this is how the AG came out. How do you come out? You said the person was, but how does that meld with the law? And people will think that I'm mixing the law to make them believe a certain outcome. But no, I'm just saying this is the law. These are the facts. You decide. And it's frustrating because in doing that, you would suspect people would come to their own conclusions. Like I got banged, or I got people getting upset because I didn't give an opinion. But that's the point. The point is for my opinion to be irrelevant. It's for you to understand how the law is. So next time when you look at a police case, next time, like I want people when they see a police case, they say, "Well, was there a serious threat to this officer's life?" Tennessee v. Gardner. Was this officer acting reasonably? You know, based on Graham v. Connor. And if you can go through that analysis, then my job is done because I believe you are a reasonable person. I believe you are intelligent. I believe if you just understood how the law works, you would come out of the conclusion 99.9% of the time, unless you're biased. Yeah, we talked about Bullinator. So sudden. Listen, if anybody can also find the GoFundMe, please, please, if somebody can find the link to the GoFundMe, please let us know. Bullinator, you know, hopefully his family. It's sad, and don't get me wrong, I have no love for Steve and those people over there, but they've lost their friend, and we should do whatever we can to support them, and it's just the right thing to do because again, this is internet beef. This is internet BS. Internet beef doesn't matter. Someone lost their life. So what? They said a harsh word to you. Really? So yeah, you know. If for those of you guys, please pray for Bullinator and his family. And when the GoFundMe comes out, please support them. This has got to be a tough time for everybody. And and to his friends out there, again, I'm sorry for your loss. Well, I have children I have to go feed. So I want to thank everybody, the people who've come out. I'm going to be doing this more frequent. The reason why today I forgot. Well, actually, I was thinking about doing it this morning, but I got up early. I had to do some edits to the videos I'm putting out later today. I think I had 3 videos in the can that I have to just edit out, and so I had some time. So I wanted to make sure I get this thing done. So I want to thank everybody for showing up and watching this. For my international fans, you know how much I love you guys. Let me look. Either one accepts the court of the deciders of fact and the law, or one doesn't. If someone has a better nonviolent way of deciding, then we should lobby for it. Well, let's not forget. It's this is something that a lot of you may not know. But let's say when the court itself, for somebody to be convicted of a crime or even be held liable of something, all 3 branches of the government must kind of come together. For instance, we're talking for any criminal case. So you have to have a law passed by the legislature, right? Then you have to have the executive find that somebody violated that law to arrest them. And then you have to have the judiciary, look at the law and the facts and determine if this person has guilt or not, because that's what the jury does, right? The judge is the jury is the judge of the facts, and the judge is the judge of the law. So those 3 branches of government have to come together to actually convict you. And a lot of the things that we talk about, let's say, for instance, like if some evidence was seized illegally, the courts, what happens is the courts say, well, we just won't consider that evidence in determining if this person is guilty or not, right? So that's what happens when it comes to the judiciary. They say, well, we're not going to look at this evidence, even if it's illegal. If it's this, we're just not going to look at it. So that's what gives the police and the executive incentive not to get evidence based in violation of the rules, because the court will say, even if they found a dead body, we're not going to consider that dead body in our evaluation. So that's how all 3 of the branches have to come together for criminal law, and that's how I try to explain it in these videos. But you'll see it work a little bit more out. So, yep, I agree, Nate. Simmons, internet fluff is really put into perspective when you lose somebody. Yeah. And please go donate to this person's GoFundMe. Go donate to GoFundMe. Please. Listen, The guy said horrible things about me. I said horrible things about, yes, true. That doesn't mean we can't be human beings. We can't be better. We have to understand where these things are. We have to, right? We have to understand that internet beef is bull. Somebody's lost their life. Someone who's taught me something, someone who I learned from, someone who has no love for me. That doesn't mean we can't be human beings. It's after Christmas, for God's sake. It's New Year's. Please, if you have any, anything, just $2, $3, whatever, come on, we can do it together. When I find the GoFundMe or when they put it up, I'll share it. I'll share it on Twitter. But let's not let someone saying bad words make us into bad people. You know what I mean? That said, oh, thank you for the $5 super chats. Love it, smart brother. Thank you, thank you. And I'm going to see you guys later. I got videos coming out today, and for all of you, if I don't speak to you again before New Year's, Happy New Year, and I'm glad you guys had a happy Christmas, and I'll be seeing you soon. As always, I'm out of here. Peace.